Hey guys, Comet here. Welcome back to Captain of Industry on the Golden Peak map. I think we're on episode 7 now. In the last episode, I got in the better vehicle depot so that I could make the better trucks, but I needed better parts, which required glass. So I was doing a lot of trades with this village. I was trading parts 3 for glass, just to get everything. I can't make my own glass yet, but with those larger trucks, I was able to clear out this whole area between episodes and completely solve my water problem. I'm still not too happy with how quickly I'm consuming all of my coal. I got in a better sorter, just so I could process coal more quickly. But what I want to focus on in this episode is expanding the dock so that I can put in a depot here somewhere and do a contract for, let's see if I can find it here. Here it is. I want to do this contract, cement for coal. Right now, my only way of making cement is using coal with the rotary kiln, and so that would kind of reduce how much coal I'm getting back from the whole process. I'm not too happy about that. So what I want to do, I also finished off all of the research prior to the next tier of labs between episodes. Just a bunch of random little things. But what I need to do is get the better labs going so that I can go into naphtha processing, cracking and reforming, then hydrogen production, back around to pick up the new rotary kiln. And that will allow me to use fuel gas instead of coal. So the research lab 2, I just plop this down. It takes construction parts 3 and lab equipment 2. Now, I'm not making lab equipment 2 yet. I think that recipe is going to be a little more complicated. It's going to take the lab equipment 1, paper, and glass now. I think that's new. At least since the last time I played. So I might have to get into glass this episode. So I'm going to come over to my blueprinting area here and try and design a glass setup. Now I know I need to start with the blast furnace. That goes into a glass maker. And then I just get glass out. Okay, so what is the input to this? I can take broken glass or glass mix. Okay, how do I make glass mix? That looks like it's done in a mixer. So I could use sand, limestone, and salt. Or I could reduce the amount of sand and limestone I need if I use acid with that. So I'd like to prioritize this recipe, but I'll keep both in place just in case I don't have any acid. I still want to be able to make glass mix. This makes at 60, and this recipe also makes at 60. This consumes at 30. Okay, so I could have 2 of these guys to 1 mixer. And both recipes produce 24 molten glass with slag if I do just the mix, so I will need an output. But they can share an exhaust. I think this is going to be really similar to the other setups I already have. This consumes at 24. Alright, so that's just 1-to-1 on these guys. Then I can put their outputs into a box. And I just need an elevator to get the slag up and out. Now I just need to figure out how to get broken glass out of here. Can I go up and over? What height could I... Ooh, I can. So I could do something kind of like this. Have the elevators plug in to this line. And then that could take the broken glass back around to the inputs to these, and I can use the secondary recipe. I think I need to let the trucks handle that, though, because I already have the recycling plant in place. I was able to do that in last episode. And so the excess broken glass from the makers would just act as one of these buckets here. And so these buckets can be combined with the output of the glass makers and then run back around by trucks into the input. So then I just need a secondary input here. Am I going to need to double this? Okay, so 12 and 12. That's 24 glass total. I'd rather leave space to double it if I need to. So let's see how close I can get these together. I think that should work. The coal input is height 2, and then the main inputs just go underneath, okay. So at height 2, I'll have the coal input. These balancers, I want to prioritize the broken glass from the bucket. And then those can go into their respective locations. So this can just slide in right there. I think the sand, limestone, and salt needs to be provided from a different location. I suppose I could send it up and over the road, or maybe under a ramp, because I don't want to block the truck's access to the bucket in the middle where the broken glass comes in. But I can't really see what I'm doing with this concrete in the way, so I'm going to remove this. Well, first I'll copy it. I don't want to lose anything. I'll just stick it over. There's some space. I should probably make sure I have a good quantity of parts buffered up before I take out my ability to make more parts. I also need to upgrade this, because I have the Mixer 2. And this makes concrete twice as fast. But since I'm going to be removing it anyway, I might as well redo it. So I don't need that. Okay, let's blueprint a new concrete build. These will take their own rotary kiln. And I don't have the better rotary kiln yet, so I'm just going to stick with the coal ones. But it should just be the same recipes doubled. So I would need 18 times 4 slag, so that's like 72. And a single crusher can only make 24 at a time. So 72 divided by 4... Oh, sorry, 72 divided by 24. 3. So I would need 3 of these. Doing slag. I can either use sand straight up, or manufactured sand, or gravel instead of slag. Let's work on the gravel next. This can make gravel at a rate of 24 as well. So that should just be 3 gravel makers. Now, gravel requires rock as an input, and that can just be supplied by a bucket. So rock can come in there. Slag can come in there. Now the only thing I'm missing is a bucket for sand. And then I need to make manufactured sand if I don't have any normal sand. And manufactured sand is also made in a crusher at a rate of 8. And this needs 6 times 4, which is 24. That's the same as 3 crushers, making 8. Now this will require more gravel now, because if I'm potentially doing the manufactured sand and gravel recipe, so this is the only scenario where I would need extra processing. These would take one extra gravel maker. Alright, now I just need to figure out how to belt all of the pieces together. I think I'm going to take this and put it... Well, I could do something... like this. So all of the gravel that is made from these can go into this elevator, and this has to be the better belt, because these will overproduce for the smaller belt. Into here, here, and here. Now, if I'm not consuming any manufactured sand, then the gravel can just pass straight through into the mixers. So the rock supply can be right here. This will also have to be a better belt. Now the outputs, if I split it across two belts, it doesn't need to be the better belt. I could just do something like this. Let's have the rotary kilns share exhaust. It should just be a really straightforward plug-in like this. That leaves enough space for a manifold belt to bring in the other items. Sand and slag are pretty easy. I think I'll just put those on this side. So these will all just join up into an elevator here, and then run across. No, it's not quite that forward. I need a balancer, because it could be slag or gravel. Okay, so these two need to be on the same side. Oh, that's not convenient. I think the best way to orient this is like this. So the slag crush can all join up here. And I want to prioritize that. No, wait. This is the slag crush, yeah. Then slag crush or manufactured sand. No, manufactured sand is with sand. What did I do for the other one? I'm so confused now. Oh, I routed the gravel up and around to the other side. Okay. So this just needs to go on this side with the sand input. That makes more sense now. So this balancer will prioritize the slag, but if there's no slag, then it will take the gravel from these crushers and run it into the slag space. Then the excess gravel that can't be used will go to the other side, where it can be turned into manufactured sand to be used instead of sand if I don't have any sand. And then once it gets to this point here, this doesn't need to be the better belt. I can get away with just the tier 1. I will need a balancer here. To prioritize sand whenever I have sand available. Alright, this is the new and improved concrete production. I think I'll just let a few more parts buffer up. I've got plenty of parts 2, I've just got no parts 1, because this is making slabs so slowly. I have to remember, this is going to go right alongside this. I don't know if this is going to fit. Do I have enough space for this? Yeah, it'll fit. We're fine. So the new slag output needs to line up with this belt here. So all of this needs to be right here. And that should be able to just plug in like that. I suppose if I rotate this, might be able to get a little bit more space. Because now if I do this correctly, these rotary kilns should be able to share the coal input. Just like this. Then all I have to worry about is getting limestone in. Now there's a little bit of a problem here for slag export. I need trucks to get into this area to keep this empty in case I'm not consuming any slag for concrete production. So why don't we just go up and then back down like that. Now trucks can get under, take out the excess slag, and leave. This might be a good spot for limestone as well. Could just sneak in a bucket right here and run this underneath the coal back to all of their respective inputs. Alright, this is looking pretty nice now. So this bucket needs rock. This bucket needs sand. Slag will come in from there. Limestone comes in there. And then coal will just be provided from this side. And this bucket will take the place of this bucket here. Alright, but all of my buffers are full of parts now, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to remove all of this. Try and slot this into place. Should just connect in like that. Beautiful. I'm going to unpause this in a very specific order. So the manifolds first to get the slag over. And then I'm going to need all of the concrete. Let's get coal back in place. And then I'll save glass for after. Because I want to make sure I have enough parts to make the things that give me more parts back. I did get into the way of the sorting plant here, so I'll just put in a larger one for iron back over here. I think that's fine. It's time the iron got upgraded. And I deliberately ignored the water pipe because I wasn't sure how I wanted to route that, but now I have everything in place, so it should be pretty easy. Can come off of the existing pipe, same height. I need to run into this line across here. And then it's just a matter of dropping down to the correct height and plugging in. Excellent. So coal is going again. Slag is moving. Got limestone here, ready for the kilns. Don't have any sand. Haven't had any sand for a while, but that's okay. We can make our own sand. Rock is getting dropped off. I want to disable imports and exports on all of these. Everything should be handled by the belts now. And that will allow me to double all of my part production. So I'm going to unpause all of that, and then I just need to get a belt for slabs. Along here to plug in to the old belt. And I need to upgrade this belt. Otherwise I won't have enough throughput to carry all of those slabs. Alright, I am really happy with this. I still need to figure out how to get sand, limestone, and salt over here. Now, salt is the weird one. That I need an evaporation pond for. So if we take a look at the recipe on the evaporation pond, it turns seawater into brine, or seawater into salt, or brine into salt. Ah, damn it, I made a mistake here. This is wrong. That is rock. I need gravel to come back this way. I don't know if it will let me do that. Shoot. Can I go over you? Yeah, it looks like I can. Okay. All is not lost. Does it have to be that high, though? I don't want it to be that high if it doesn't have to be. What's the minimum height? Oh, it looks like that is. Sure, I'll take it. But back to seawater. I need a pump. It doesn't look like there's a great place for... Oh, right about there. Ah, that sucks. Or here. I could do here. This is probably better. So I'll just let the trucks handle this. Alright, so now I can start thinking about glass mix. Oh wait, this takes natural sand. I have no choice. Okay. That changes things a little bit. I don't want to ever use sand for concrete then. Because I need to save all of my natural sand for glass mix. So I will remove these two recipes. And only use manufactured sand. That makes acid a very important component, because it will reduce the amount of sand I need. I'm going to have to get some excavators to dig up this pile of sand here. I think once I get to quartz... Where is that? Yeah, way over here on this island. Quartz I can turn into natural sand. But I'm still working on the dock. Oh, limestone I already have a bucket for right here. Maneuvering a belt over to there might be a little convoluted. I think I'll start with the lifts. So I need lifts at 3 different heights. So one will do sand, one will do limestone, and one will do salt. And I could just stack them right here. That still gives trucks space. I don't like where this tower is. This tower kind of sucks. Can I move you maybe over to here? Now I could figure out a way to finagle this acid pipe all the way over to here. Or I could just put in another storage. I think that would be cleaner. Just something really simple like this. Up and over. I want to preserve access to this bucket, so maybe I move these belts up a little higher, because I don't think trucks can reach through. They might be able to go around into there. Alright, I'm going to redo these elevators. Put them at the max height. That way trucks can get in underneath. So then all I need to do is connect up their respective outputs. So you can go into you and you. You will go into you and you. And you can go into you and you. Perfect. So I'll set one of these to limestone. The order doesn't matter. One of these to salt. And one of these to sand. I need to get in another control tower, I think right about here would be a decent spot for it. And this one needs to do this area. I'm just gonna dig up all of this sand. I think I'm good on coal, so I'm gonna repurpose one of the coal trucks. Assign them here to do sand. I'll go ahead and unpause all of that. The final piece of this glass puzzle, I need to use the salt water. I think I'll put these just kind of off to the side. By these water catchers. I think I'm gonna need 4. So this needs 6 salt for either recipe. If I do the saltwater to salt recipe, then I only get 3 salt. So I would need a total of 4 if I had glass production going at full throughput. But 4 doesn't quite fit right here. What if I turned them? Can trucks still get by? Yeah, they can go underneath. So I'm going to put them in this orientation. So I'll just run a pipe along here, connect all of these up. And their output, I guess I will just get in a box here. Alright, unpause that. I'll just let the trucks deliver from this box into this box. That's fine. Now, I'm not too sure how evaporation occurs when it's raining, but we don't ask questions like that. These will harvest water at the same time these are giving off water. Alright, starting to get our first bits of glass here. This I want trucks to empty. They'll put it back over here. They should be able to drive underneath those belts just fine. Now I just need to find a location for glass on the main bus here, and I don't think there's much room. Yeah, so I could go over the top of steel with glass. And it's got to make its way all the way down to these over here for both vehicle parts and lab parts. So then I can redirect this belt, carrying the lab parts 1 into you and into you. Don't need this anymore. The only thing I need is paper. Now that's a whole nother process. See, I'm pretty sure paper is made in the chemical plant. Yeah, here's the recipe. So it takes wood chips, limestone, steam, and then I get paper out at 12. These require 4. Okay, that's not terrible. Ooh, what do the labs take? If I upgrade these, I have a feeling I'm going to need more machines making the lab equipment. I don't really have the space for that. Well, I gotta start somewhere. So I think this I'm gonna put right here and just have its output connect into this manifold to supply these with paper. So I need to supply inputs to this. That is, yeah, wood chips, limestone, and steam. Steam's gonna be the tricky one. But wood chips, those are made at a shredder. Limestone I can get here. And then steam. I could just use an electric boiler. Yeah, I think I'll use an electric boiler just to simplify the whole process. So this is going to go right up against it there. Doesn't need very much steam. So just connect in like that. I'll just run a limestone output to that elevator, and then a wood chip output into that elevator. I probably don't even need a box here for wood. There should be a large enough buffer on the belt here for wood chips. It's used so slowly. 6. This produces 24. Yeah, I'll do trucks can import, but trucks cannot export. This one, I'll just assign some limestone there. Electric boiler does need a water input. But I think that I'll just let trucks supply straight to the building. No buffer needed there. There's some free space at height 3. I want to leave some space for outputs here if I ever need it in the future. So I'll just connect paper up to there. Run it along to this spot there. And I can get an elevator right there and right there. I think that should solve my lab problem. Let's unpause all of you. I was wondering where all of my diesel went. So, I'm actually not making enough power to supply all of this new stuff now. So this single coal plant isn't enough. So I was just burning through all of my diesel, which is what is supposed to happen. I just didn't realize that's what was happening. So I think it's time I unpaused this, and that's gonna eat up even more of my coal. So I really need to get this dock built so I can get into the contract. Still waiting on parts to finish off the labs here. But once I get those, I can start researching the next set of stuff I need. And everything should start working again. Having to make back all of these parts is great for slag production, because then it gives me material to dump back over here to increase the dock. I am tempted to dig all of this junk back up here, because I could take the slag and fill it in over here. I could just burn off all of the trash I dig up, and then it would give me a place to put all of the dirt I have sitting in the shipyard here. 31,000. Alright, looks like the chemical plant for paper is working. I should get my better lab equipment now. Okay, first one upgraded here. It consumes 12. That's all of this. Okay, so I only need 2 labs. Let's unpause you. And unpause you. Now I just need to wait for the beacon to get me a few more people. I've got in the second power plant now. I should be staying away from consuming diesel. Looks like I've still got 600 years left on this oil rig. So that should be plenty of time to get a crude oil contract up and running. The dock is still not quite large enough. I think I might have to do the cement for coal contract in the next episode. I really just needed to get the labs upgraded so that I could go into household goods, naphtha processing, reforming and cracking, hydrogen production. I'm not going to get into hydrogen trucks. That kind of needs to wait for nuclear. That's like way down here in the tech tree. Just because it's so inefficient to use or to make hydrogen from crude oil, it's so much better to just use diesel. It's very easy to make hydrogen from nuclear steam later on, so I'm just going to stay away from hydrogen trucks for now. I'm going to get the rotary kiln. I could increase the amount of stuff I get back from recycling, so I'll add that, and that. That's just free stuff. Might as well take advantage of that. I could do better edicts, and potentially better power generation. I also want to pick up the tall seawater pump. Let's add that to the queue. And I think that should be plenty for what I'm doing right now. Well, with the household goods upgrade, I might be able to do this contract instead. So this takes glass, steel, and wood. This one only takes limestone and fuel gas. I think I'll do some research between episodes to decide between these two. I'm still leaning towards cement, but I think household goods might potentially be better. It gives me the same amount of coal, whichever one I choose. Yeah, but I'll have to look into that between episodes. I've still got plenty of time. I can't get it done in this episode anyway, so... I'm a little concerned about how close these excavators are getting to the power plant. So I'm going to put in some retaining walls here, here, and here. Just get it a corner piece there. So that'll just protect this a little bit. Yeah, I'm still just consuming coal like a madman here. I really need to get into that contract. But that's gonna have to wait for the next episode. I'm really happy with the progress I made in this one. I got glass in place, so I don't have to do this trade anymore. That is obsolete now. Got in the better labs, and I have a whole bunch of stuff queued up. I can let all of that finish between episodes. And I'm also happy about finally doubling concrete, because these assemblers 3 were overconsuming the old concrete build. So now I can have full throughput through all of the construction part building. I still need to figure out what to do with this 37,000 dirt I have stored up here. Anytime one of these sorting plants gets backed up with dirt, I just delete it, and it ends up in the shipyard here. It's because I ran out of space to dump dirt over here. So like I said earlier, I plan on removing this whole thing, repurposing some of the slag into filler for over here, and then I can just burn off any of the waste in the burners. And I'm not a fan of dumping dirt into the ocean, but that might be my only solution right now. So looking forward, plans for next episode, definitely going to have to finish off the dock and get into the cement or household goods contract. I'll figure out which one by the time I need to actually put them in. I think it would just be so much simpler to do the cement than the household goods, but I do need household goods for the colony anyway, so I could just ship some of them off for coal. So I am going to play a little bit between episodes to let the trucks get caught up on all the tasks, so finishing the roadways and finishing up the dock. I'll let all of the research finish in the background. That way everything is nice and prepared for the next episode where we get into contracts. I really have to get that coal contract going. Otherwise, everything else is pretty stable. Pretty happy with the progress I made in this episode. So I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.